On the last day of October, the Security Council of the United Nations debated children in armed conflict. The debate began by a statement from Antonio Guterres, the new Secretary General, who said, and I quote, "Children around the world are suffering enormously and unacceptably by conflict. This is a source of global shame." He then went on to enumerate aspects of the shame. Children who are used as suicide bombers, children who are forced to be child soldiers, children who are bombed to smithereens in hospitals and schools, children who are accused of crimes they were coerced to commit, children who couldn't reintegrate into society. And he ended with these words: "If we leave the next generation traumatized, seething with grievances, we betray those we serve and we betray ourselves." He was then followed by 74 member states beating their breasts about the horrors that were imposed on children in conflict. But there was one astonishing absence in the entire debate, and the absence was any reference to the report that was done slightly more than 20 years ago by an expert appointed by the United Nations to provide information, recommendations, and content on what? The title was "The Consequences of Armed Conflict on Children." Exactly what was debated on the last day of October this year. And who was the expert? Graça Machel. Graça Machel was appointed by the United Nations. She was the former Minister of Education in Mozambique, the former First Lady of Mozambique. She then married Nelson Mandela. She is the widow of Nelson Mandela, a formidable figure in her own right on the African continent, and her report made a tremendous impact at the time. She pointed out, after going to conflict areas for 2 years, that the previous 10 years had resulted in 2 million child deaths in conflict. And then she went on to write, stick with me, because it's powerful. These statistics are shocking enough, but more chilling is the conclusion to be drawn from them. More and more of the world is being sucked into a desolate moral vacuum. This is a space devoid of the most basic human values, a space in which children are slaughtered, raped, and maimed, a space in which children are exploited as soldiers, a space in which children are starved and exposed to extreme brutality. Such unregulated terror and violence speak of deliberate victimization. There are few further depths to which humanity can sink. 20 years later, nothing has changed. She made 10 major recommendations, not a one of which has been fulfilled. You see, the Secretary General and the Secretariat around him have to stop delivering these facile speeches and these superficial reports and stand up courageously in the Security Council and point a finger at the countries whose arms shipment sustain the wars against children and who refuse to prevent children. Because if we continue as we are, 20 years from now, we'll go through the same charade all over again with another 2 million children in their graves. That was last week. I'm Stephen Lewis.